Hello, brothers and sisters, and welcome to day 58 of the Chronological Read Through the Bible. Today's commentary covers Numbers chapter 2 and 3. And I'm really just going to have a short focus on today's lesson. I wanted to talk about how the tribes have been numbered. And in this numbers that we're given, just so that in case you missed it, what this is really numbering are the men from 20 years of age to 50 years of age. And that number comes to a total of 630,550. Now, then these men are going to be broken down in tribes around the camp. And so let's start with facing east first. And of course, at the very center of this is the tabernacle, and the Levites are encamped around the tabernacle. So facing east out of the tabernacle first is Moses and Aaron and their sons. So that's actually a smaller group than what we're going to see of the remaining Levites which are around the camp. So facing east, the first tribe which we come to is Judah, and they would be considered the anchor tribe or the banner tribe. And I'm going to come back to this banner in just a little bit. Then there's Issachar and Zebulun, and they number 186,400. Of all the groups that we're going to see branching off, they're the largest. So then the next, now facing south, which would be to the side of the tent of meeting or the tabernacle, is Reuben, which is again the anchor or banner tribe, Simeon, and Gad. And they're going to number 151,450. Now, there's, of course, a Levite tribe that's between them and the tabernacle, and that's the Kohathites or the Cohen. They were, in a sense, the more active priests that we see throughout Scripture. A lot of times we see them more involved or more mentioned more, at least. And then facing to the west, we then have the Gershom, which is another Levitical tribe. And then we have Ephraim, which Ephraim is, of course, one of the sons of Joseph. So that's why we don't have a tribe of Joseph. Joseph kind of gets a double portion of tribes. So as the Levites are set aside as the priest, then Joseph is given two tribes through both of his sons. So there's Ephraim, which is the banner tribe, and the anchor tribe, as you would say, and then there's Manasseh, and then there's Benjamin. So also keep in mind that this is really like all of Joseph's relations with Benjamin, having been his brother. So they're kind of set aside in their own. And then to the north, so we have again Merari, one of the Levitical tribes, and then we have Dan, which is the anchor or banner tribe, and then Asher and Naphtali. Now, I didn't give the names of those to the west. I mean the numbers of those to the west. I should have. That's 108,100. And then this tribe spanning off to the north is 157,600. Not exactly, but pretty close to the same, give or take 2,000 as far as balancing the south and the north. But what you're going to notice is there's a whole lot more, almost twice as many on the eastern side as on the west. Now, if you just put those numbers in drawing form, put little lines coming out, what you're going to get is a near representation of a cross. Just to put that there, it's very interesting, and this isn't going to be the best picture, but it'll give you a little bit of that. We see the north and the south being very similar, and then you see the east here being longer and the west being shorter. That's if you take the numbers and you put the tribes around as we get it in Scripture. Now, there's a few different depictions. Some people put the tribes a little bit of a different, not necessarily order, but they put them more in a different line shape. I think this is probably pretty close to what it looked like because it's how it's really laid out for us, but so much of Scripture gives us this picture, this vision of how things will unfold. As I've mentioned before, taking the verse out of Hebrews, it's a shadow of the good things to come. Now, I also wanted to come back, and the reason why I said the banner, each of these four groups had a banner which they were to rally before. And so Judah is that anchor or banner tribe. But Judah has a depiction or a symbol which Judah's linked with, and that's the lion. So it's believed that there would have been a green banner with probably a gold lion upon it to designate Judah. And then for Reuben, it's believed that that would have been a red banner with a depiction of a man on it, because Reuben was signified with a man. And then Ephraim was signified by an ox, so it's believed that that would have been a gold banner with a black or darkened colored ox on it. And then Dan would have been a white banner with an eagle upon it. I know it's a bit of a stretch, but this is how they were depicted throughout much of history of each of these tribes and these groups. But then let's look at the book of Ezekiel. And in Ezekiel, we get this picture again. And this is what I'm saying. We have these pictures given to us throughout Scripture. So in Ezekiel, when he has the vision in chapter 1 of God and heaven, he says, within it, in verse 5, there were figures resembling 4 living beings, and this was their appearance. They had human form. Each of them had 4 faces and 4 wings. I know, look very different, right? Very, very bizarre, but these are angelic or celestial beings. Their legs were straight, and their feet were like calves' hooves, and they gleamed like burnished bronze. Under their wings, on their 4 sides, were human hands. As for their faces and wings of the 4 of them, their wings touched one another, but their faces did not turn when they moved. Each of them went straight forward. As for the form of their faces, each had the face of a man. All 4 had the face of a lion on the right, and the face of a bull on the left, and all 4 had the face of an eagle. It's interesting. I mean, if we were standing looking north, if we were facing north, then to our right side would be the lion, and to our left would be the ox. Very much like this picture. And then we also have it, I don't know if you've heard this laid out before, get a little bit of a lengthy teaching in that aspect, and I won't fully dive there, but each of the 4 Gospels are represented by one of these animals. So, of course, the book of Matthew really represents a lion, and then the book of Mark represents an ox, and the book of Luke represents a man, and then the book of John represents a lion. So we see this duplication of these 4 creatures throughout the camp and throughout the Gospels. It's just an interesting side note, but again, coming back to this picture of where we have the camp having this picture of a cross. It's pretty amazing, isn't it? So you can do it yourself. You can put the numbers down, or you can pull up a picture like this on the internet yourself and see it for yourself without all my little notes scribbled around it. Brothers and sisters, I do hope that you've had a good day. Until tomorrow, God bless.